I want to tell you something that is going to sound like an excuse, but it is not an excuse. It is actually the most important thing I have learned about learning English.
Okay, I'm listening.
I never studied, not once. No textbooks, no grammar exercises, no flashcards, no apps, nothing.
This is true. I have known Bob for years, and I have never seen him open a book.
And yet, here I am, speaking English, on a podcast, in a studio.
Welcome back to the Primate podcast, your slow English podcast for real-life conversations. I'm Zara.
I'm Bob, and today we are going to talk about something that most English teachers will never tell you.
You can learn English without studying.
Not instead of studying, not better than studying, but alongside it. Or even, if you are very intentional about it, as your main method.
This is a B1 to B2 episode, but honestly, this topic is for every level because everyone has the same problem: not enough time, not enough energy, and the feeling that English only happens when you sit down and formally study it.
Before we start, comment below. How much time do you spend actively studying English versus just living your life? Be honest. We want to know.
Okay, Bob, tell me, how did you actually learn English? The real story.
So, the tourists started coming when I was very young. And from the very beginning, I just listened. That was it. That was the whole method.
You just sat there.
I sat on my rock every day for years, and tourists walked past and talked, and I listened. I did not take notes. I did not look up words. I did not repeat things out loud. I just absorbed.
And it worked.
It took time. It was not fast. But yes, it worked. And I think the reason it worked is something that most people don't give enough credit to. The brain is always learning. Even when you think you are doing nothing, if English is entering your ears, your brain is processing it, storing it, building patterns, quietly, in the background.
And this is actually supported by research. Linguists call it implicit learning, learning that happens without conscious effort, without intention, just through exposure.
Which almost sounds too good to be true.
It does. But it is real and it is powerful, and most English learners are not using it anywhere near as much as they could.
Because they think learning only counts when it hurts a little, when there's effort, when there's a textbook and a timer and a feeling of serious work happening.
And effort matters. We are not saying effort doesn't matter, but effort is not the only door into the language. There is another door, a quieter one, that is open all the time.
Actually, can I say something before we continue?
Of course.
I keep talking about my rock and sitting outside and listening to tourists in the open air, and today, for the first time, we are not outside.
No, we are very much not outside.
We are in a real studio with proper lighting and professional equipment, and I cannot overstate this, genuinely excellent chairs.
The chairs are very good.
The chairs are exceptional. We were given the opportunity to record here for this episode, and we are very aware that this is not guaranteed to continue.
If this episode does well, if you watch it, share it, leave a comment, there's a real chance we get to come back here.
So, no pressure, but also the chairs, Zara. Think about the chairs.
Okay, back to the topic. The quiet door into English. Let's talk about what it actually looks like in real life. So, passive learning. What does it actually mean in practice? Because I think a lot of people here learn while doing nothing and they think, okay, I'll just lie on my sofa and English will somehow enter my brain.
Which is not quite right.
Which is not quite right. The key word is not nothing. The key word is naturally. You're not doing nothing. You are doing something else, something you would do anyway, and English is present in that something.
So it's not passive in the sense of zero activity. It's passive in the sense of English is not the main task. English is the environment.
Exactly. And that distinction matters enormously because when English is the environment, your brain processes it differently, more naturally, more like how a child absorbs their first language without the pressure of performance, without the fear of getting it wrong.
Which is why it works. Not because it's easier, because it's safer for the brain. The brain takes more risks when it doesn't feel like it's being tested.
And that is the key insight of this whole episode. Your brain learns language most effectively when it feels safe, when there is no pressure to perform, when English is simply around you, present, available, and your brain does what brains do. It finds patterns, stores sounds, builds connections completely on its own.
Okay, so let's get practical, because this is the part that I think people really need. Not the theory, the actual things you can do.
First thing, and this one is probably the most powerful and most underused.
What's that?
Change the language on your phone and your apps to English.
That's it?
That's it. Right now, after this episode, go to your phone settings and change the language to English. Every time you check a notification, English. Every time you open an app, English. Every time you set an alarm, check the weather, read a menu, English.
And the beautiful thing is, you already know what everything means. You already know what settings does. You already know what send means in context. So the cognitive load is almost zero, but the exposure is constant.
Your brain sees the word settings 30 times a day. After 2 weeks, you don't even think about it. It's just a word you know, without ever studying it.
This is exactly what happened to me with tourist conversations. I heard the same phrases over and over. Excuse me, how far is it? What time does it close? And eventually, they just became part of me. I didn't learn them, I absorbed them.
Second thing, listen to English while doing something else. Not dedicated listening, background listening.
This is my personal area of expertise.
It is. So, you are cooking. Put on an English podcast. Not to study it, not to take notes, just to have it on. You are cleaning. English podcast. You are going for a walk. English podcast. You are doing something repetitive that doesn't require your full attention. English is there in the background.
And you don't have to understand everything. That is the part that surprises people most. You don't have to catch every word. You don't have to pause and look things up. You just let it flow, and your brain catches what it can. And every time it catches something, it gets a little better at catching the next thing.
The goal is not comprehension. The goal is exposure. Comprehension comes later, as a result of repeated exposure.
And I think this is where learners make a big mistake. They think, if I don't understand it, it's not helping me. But that is not how language acquisition works. Even the parts you don't consciously understand are being processed, being stored, being compared to what you already know.
Think about how babies learn their first language. They don't understand everything they hear. They understand almost nothing at first, but they listen constantly. And slowly, patterns emerge. Sounds become words. Words become meaning. Not because someone explained it, because exposure did the work.
Third thing, watch things in English, not with your native language subtitles, with English subtitles, or no subtitles at all.
This one is very powerful because it combines two senses at the same time. You hear the English, you read the English, and you see the visual context, which helps your brain connect meaning without translation.
And the content matters. Watch something you genuinely want to watch, not something you feel you should watch for educational purposes. Because if you are actually interested in the content, your brain is more engaged, and more engaged brain means better retention.
It doesn't have to be a documentary about history. It can be a comedy, a reality show, a cooking show, whatever holds your attention. The only rule is English audio, English or no subtitles.
And start with content where the language is relatively simple and clear. Conversations between friends, everyday situations, not Shakespeare, not legal dramas with complex vocabulary.
Although, if you love legal dramas, watch legal dramas. Passion beats strategy every time when it comes to sustained exposure.
I learned an enormous amount from tourists talking about very ordinary things. What they ate for breakfast, how tired they were, what they wanted to do next. Ordinary, everyday English is the most useful English there is.
Fourth thing, listen to music in English and pay attention to the lyrics, not in a studying way, in a curious way.
This is actually how a lot of people first fall in love with English before they ever open a textbook. A song gets into their head and they want to know what it means.
And music is extraordinary for language learning because of repetition. You hear the same song 10, 20, 50 times, and every time the brain is reinforcing those sounds, those patterns, those phrases.
I can't get no satisfaction. I heard tourists singing this walking past my rock. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew exactly how it sounded, the rhythm, the feeling. And later, when I understood the words, they were already home in my head.
Music also teaches you pronunciation and rhythm in a way that no textbook can. The melody carries the stress patterns of the language. You feel where the emphasis goes. You feel the natural flow of English without anyone explaining it.
And you don't have to understand every word. You don't have to look up every lyric. Just listen. Let the sounds become familiar. Let your mouth start forming the shapes without thinking about it.
One practical tip here. Find an English song you genuinely like. Listen to it on repeat for a week. Don't study it, just enjoy it. And notice, by the end of the week, how much more you understand without trying. That is implicit learning happening in real time.
Fifth thing, and this one is one I find particularly interesting.
What's that?
Think in English, even for just a few minutes a day. Not translate, think. Use English as the language your mind operates in for short periods.
We talked about this in episode 7, but it connects directly to passive learning as well. Because when you start thinking in English, you are creating an internal environment where English is present, even when no external English is available.
I am thirsty. The sun is warm today. I wonder if the tourists will come early. Simple thoughts. In English. No pressure, no performance.
And the reason this is passive rather than active is because you are not constructing language consciously. You are not checking grammar. You are not looking things up. You are just letting English be the default for that moment.
And this is how fluency actually develops, not in big dramatic studying sessions, but in small, quiet moments where English starts to feel like yours, not a foreign language you are visiting, but something you live inside.
I remember the moment English stopped feeling like a second language for me. I was watching the river one afternoon, and my first thought, my immediate automatic thought, was in English, not translated from something else, just in English. And I thought, oh, this is different now.
That moment is real, and it comes from exactly this kind of quiet, consistent, low-pressure exposure. Not from one big study session, from thousands of small moments where English was simply present.
Sixth thing, follow English content on social media.
This one is underrated because people think of social media as wasted time.
But if the content is in English, it is not wasted time for an English learner. Every caption you read, English. Every comment you scroll through, English. Every short video you watch, English. You are on your phone anyway. Make the environment English.
Follow accounts that talk about things you actually care about in English, not English learning accounts, just accounts about cooking, travel, science, sport, humor, whatever genuinely interests you in English.
Because when you are interested, you read more carefully, you watch more attentively, and your brain absorbs more. Interest is the multiplier. It takes the same amount of time and produces much better results.
And the comments section? Underrated language classroom. Real people, real English, real slang, real expressions, messy and natural, and exactly what real language looks like.
Just maybe don't comment on everything. Sometimes just reading is enough.
Although writing comments in English is also good practice, which connects back to something we always say.
Leave us a comment in English. Even one sentence, even imperfect. It counts.
Okay. 7th thing. And this one is the simplest and most overlooked.
What?
Not books necessarily. Anything. A menu, a label on a package, a street sign, a caption on a photo, a headline, an email.
Because reading in English, even a small amount, keeps the language active in your brain. It keeps the pathways open. It keeps the words close to the surface where you can reach them.
And reading is different from listening. Listening gives you sound. Reading gives you spelling, visual form, the shape of words on a page. And your brain uses both. It builds a richer, more complete understanding when it has experienced a word in both forms.
You don't have to read novels. You don't have to read academic papers. Read what is in front of you, in English, whatever it is. One paragraph, one article, one caption, every day.
Small and consistent beats large and occasional. Always.
And that is actually the whole philosophy of this episode. Small and consistent. English doesn't have to be a big separate event in your day. It can be woven into everything you already do, quietly, continuously, without extra time, without extra effort, just present. Okay, let's bring this together before the word tour.
The big idea today.
You are already living your life. Every day. You are already doing things. Cooking, cleaning, walking, scrolling, watching, listening, thinking. The question is not, can I find time to study English? The question is, can I make my existing life a little more English?
Change your phone language. Listen to podcasts in the background. Watch things with English subtitles. Let music into your ears. Think in English for 5 minutes. Follow English content you actually enjoy. Read whatever is in front of you.
None of these things require extra time. They require a decision, a simple one-time decision to make English part of the fabric of your day, rather than a separate event that you may or may not get to.
And the results come slowly, as they always do with language. But they come. Quietly, consistently, the way everything real grows. Not in dramatic moments, but in small, steady, unnoticed accumulations.
I learned English partly by watching tourists. Bob learned English entirely by watching tourists. We didn't study, we just paid attention, and paid attention, and paid attention, until one day it was just there.
And it can be there for you too. It just needs to be around you, consistently, patiently.
Okay, word tour. Let's go. 13 words from today. Bob reads slowly and clearly. Everyone repeat out loud.
Ready? Let's go. 1. Absorb. Absorb. To take in information or language naturally, without conscious effort.
the way a sponge takes in water. Children absorb language by being surrounded by it. The more you expose yourself to English, the more your brain absorbs without trying. Repeat. Absorb. Absorb. 2. Implicit. Im-play-sit. Something that exists or happens without being directly stated or consciously intended. Implicit learning happens in the background without effort or intention. Most of your early language learning was implicit. You didn't study, you just absorbed. Repeat. Implicit. 3. Exposure. Ex-po-sure. The amount of time you spend in contact with a language, hearing it, reading it, experiencing it. Regular exposure to real English is more valuable than occasional intense study. Passive exposure, through music, podcasts, and film, builds language over time. Repeat. Exposure. Exposure. 4. Acquisition. Ac-qui-zi-shun. The process of gaining a language naturally through use and exposure rather than formal study. Language acquisition happens when you are immersed in real communication. Children go through natural acquisition. Adults can too with enough exposure. Repeat. Acquisition. Acquisition. 5. Immerse. Immerse. To surround yourself completely in the language or environment so it becomes unavoidable. The most effective way to learn a language is to immerse yourself in it. You don't have to travel abroad to immerse yourself. You can create an English environment at home. Repeat. Immerse. Immerse. 6. Input. Input. The English that enters your brain through listening and reading. What goes in before anything comes out. More input leads to better output. You can't speak what you haven't heard. Passive learning is really about maximizing your daily input. Repeat. Input. Input. 7. Retain. Retain. To keep information in your memory over time, not just learn it once, but hold on to it. Repetition helps you retain new vocabulary. You retain words better when you encounter them in real contexts, not just in word lists. Repeat. Retain. Retain. 8. Subconscious. Subconscious. Below the level of conscious awareness happening in your mind without you realizing it. Passive learning works at a subconscious level. Your brain is processing even when you think you are not paying attention. The subconscious mind stores far more than we are aware of. Repeat. Subconscious. Subconscious. 9. Consistent. Consistent. Happening regularly and repeatedly over time, not once or twice, but again and again. Consistent exposure to English, even in small amounts, produces better results than occasional intense study. Being consistent with language learning is more important than being perfect. Repeat. Consistent. Consistent. 10. Accumulate. A-Q-mu-late. To gradually build up over time through many small additions. Vocabulary accumulates slowly, one word at a time, one context at a time. The results of passive learning accumulate quietly until one day you notice how much has changed. Repeat. Accumulate. Accumulate. 11. Surroundings. Surroundings.
round, ings. The environment around you, everything that is present in your daily life. Change your surroundings to include more English, your phone, your music, your content. Your surroundings shape what you learn without you realizing it. Repeat. Surroundings. Surroundings. 12. Intentional. In, ten, show, no. Done on purpose with a clear goal in mind, deliberate rather than accidental. Passive learning works best when you are intentional about creating an English environment. You don't have to study every day, but you do have to be intentional about exposure. Repeat. Intentional. In, ten, show, no. 13. Effortless. Less. Requiring no effort, happening easily and naturally without strain or difficulty. True fluency feels effortless, not because it requires no work, but because the work happened gradually over time. The goal of passive learning is to make English feel effortless in everyday moments. Repeat. Effortless. Effortless.
13 words. Repeat them tonight, let them sink in, and then make one small change tomorrow. One thing in your daily life that becomes a little more English. Just one.
Okay, episode 9, done.
We talked about how language enters the brain quietly, how exposure, consistent, patient, low-pressure exposure, does work that no textbook can.
Your phone, your music, your shows, your walks, your thoughts. All of these can be moments of English without extra time, without extra effort, with just a decision to let English in.
Comment below, what is one thing in your daily life you're going to make more English after today? We want to know. One sentence, even imperfect, write it.
And if you enjoyed this episode, if it gave you something useful, you know what that means for the studio situation.
The chairs are counting on you.
The chairs are very invested in your engagement.
Subscribe to the Primate podcast. New episodes every 2 days. From the studio, I'm Zara.
I'm Bob. Don't be a parrot. Parrots repeat. Primates understand.